So hello everybody, I hope you guys had your lunch as well as coffee, ready for the next session. We're gonna talk about user experience from the perspective of somebody like me who is partially sighted, low vision, call it what you might. Okay, and maybe we start by a short introduction. I love to write and read. I'm a writer. I'm also color crazy. So I live in a pink house, and I very much care about colors, which may be a bit counterintuitive. I also love to watch impressionist paintings, because they're kind of actually blurred, so you can really leave it up to your interpretation what's in them. The fourth thing here you see is a ladybug, and I can tell you a very quick anecdote about it since we are at the jQuery conference. So the ladybug is here because I fell in love with educating people about accessibility, and so I drew the ladybug in JavaScript, and I wanted to learn JavaScript so I can animate short videos about accessibility. All went according to plan. And then recently, I actually went to jQuery, and on jQuery website, I found a program, very small program, that lets me convert my pointer into a ladybug. So I no longer have to animate movies. I basically can use my pointer, change it to a ladybug, and she can walk around the screen, and she can find all the accessibility bugs. So who is the audience? Who are the people with low vision? Some of them are like me. They're people who were born with low vision, and I'll tell you my story just in a bit. Then there are people like my grandfather on the right side there. He's in his 90s, and so he had perfect vision for many years, but now his vision is failing, so he's definitely in the low vision category. And then the third picture you see is kind of like the invisible audience. It's the people who, if you ask them on a survey, they will never admit that they are low vision or that they have any kind of visual problems. But whenever you give them an option to enlarge the screen or enlarge fonts or change anything in the interface to make it easier for them to move around the screen, they will gladly do it. So my point here is just that we can never really presume who is using your product and your software, and so it's best to make it as flexible as possible. On this slide, you see only 4 versions of, basically those are 4 versions of my computer. So I took pictures of basically my laptop screen and keyboard, and they are basically 4 different perspectives. Basically, things that you will see. So the first picture is of my computer seen through the lens of somebody who has cataracts. So it's very blurry. The second picture, so the one to the right, is seen through the lens of somebody with macular degeneration. So it's not really blurry, but the issue here is that they don't have central vision, or sometimes they don't have peripheral vision. They have the blind spots. Then the picture underneath on the left, it's the picture of somebody with retinal detachment. So it's kind of a bit of both. It's a bit blurry and kind of spaghetti stripes, black spaghetti stripes running around, so not very clear vision. And the fourth image is kind of what I'm supposed to see like, because I have glaucoma. So this is the fourth picture, so I supposedly don't have a field of vision like you guys do. And it's probably a bit blurry as well. And of course, for me, it's very hard to explain to you how I see, because I've never seen in any different way. So that's why I'm saying that this is all based on my research rather than my own experience. The best way I could define my experience is through this poem, and you can read it in its entirety here, but the point is that I can see the flowers, but I cannot see the hummingbirds who sit on the flowers, and so I see the general outlines of things, but I don't see the little details. And that's kind of cool sometimes because it spurs my imagination, and it makes me be very creative. This is another way in which I can try to explain to you how I see. So this is my website that I designed. So it's got pictures and it's got some text. Okay, and this is how I see it. So I also see some pictures, and I see that there is some text, but I cannot read the text until I, magnify it, and basically enlarge the entire screen. Otherwise, I just have to take it for granted that there is some text there. Okay, so I actually recorded a small video of me using magnification software. I would like you guys to just get familiar with it, and also just to see how I use computer on an everyday basis.
So obviously, I don't see the pictures that are on the icons. What I see is just a bunch of colors or color combinations. And so, for example, top left icon, I see it's green and white, and I remember that that's supposed to be Messenger. So as long as my memory serves me well, I can get to an icon without actually magnifying the screen. And, of course, I can verify whether my memory serves me well just by magnifying the screen. Okay, so let's go to Safari and explore the page. This is Khan Academy, where I recently started taking a programming course. Let's just explore some of the elements of the layout here. So on top I see they're asking me for some donations. Okay, then we have this dark stripe that just goes across the screen, and this is super useful for me because it gives me an idea that perhaps there is a menu either on that stripe or above it or below. So let's have a look. Okay, I'm first looking above. Okay, I see Khan Academy, subject, search. Oh, okay. So here I can search, and I see I've got some messages. Okay, wonderful. And now if we go below the stripe, oh, wonderful. There are some more things here. Home, profile, badges, progress. Okay, cool. So that little stripe is actually pretty important because it really helps me navigate quickly to the menu. And then as we go down the page, this is the content of the page, and then at the bottom obviously there is a footer, and there is a difference in colors between the white footer and the gray content here as far as the background is concerned, and so that also helps me navigate quicker to different parts of the website. I'm not confused between what's the footer and what's the content. Okay, so let's go inside my course and see if we can find something interesting there. All right, so I see this is very interesting because there's no stripe here. So does this mean there's no menu? Let's have a look. I see. There's only the upper menu. Looks exactly the same as it did on the previous page. We have my messages, and I can go home, and then there's a search, but there is no lower part, so there's no profile, badges, progress, and then I don't know what's written here versus here until I magnify that page, but I know that what concerns us is actually this list here, and so in order to find an item, I basically just magnify the screen and just scroll down, since I know it's a list. So let's just choose the project I had in mind. Okay, design an animal. And as you can see, when the screen is magnified, obviously I see a very small part of the screen. So let's demagnify it for a moment and just have a look at the layout first. Okay, they still want me to donate money on top. Then we have, I'm assuming, the same menu that we had on the other page. Yep, search and messages and so forth. Then just the green stripe and no other menu items. Okay. And then we have instructions, and I know this because I had read the page. And underneath instructions, we have the code, and it's really helpful that actually the code is written in different colors, so the variables and values, for example, are written in blue, which is helpful. And on the right side is the outcome of my program. And so obviously I don't see the whole screen at the time when I magnify the code, for example, but now I know that in order to get to my ladybug and see if it did not escape, I can just move to the right side of the screen. There it is. Nice and big, perfect. So as you can see, the navigation with or without magnification is really easy once you practice a bit.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some stereotypes very quickly. Okay, some of the stereotypes associated with designing web pages or apps for people with low vision is that, the larger, the better. And it's not necessarily always the case that the larger the font, the better, because sometimes it's not super clear, actually. When it gets larger, it kind of gets blurry, or you can see the dots as opposed to, smooth font. And also, it gets harder to read the content. So you can no longer really read the whole chunk of text. You just read like really, really small parts of text. So sometimes it's a better idea to choose a good, clear font, good quality that's like, thick, bold, as opposed to just something super large. Another stereotype is that low vision people like the color inversion, and of course some do. And as you have seen in the previous slide, there are people with various visual impairments, various types of visual impairments. So obviously their preferences will vary. But my point only is that that never presume on users' behalf. Like in this case, for me, for example, it's very hard to use my own page because suddenly all the colors have changed. So whatever I was used to is now of very different color, and so it actually is a learning curve for me to now go through that page and find where things are. Good design. Okay, this is a Yahoo web page, and even though it's complicated, it's actually easy to use for me, because there is a menu on top, with there's this black stripe there. Then there is a menu going down, and it's, it has a different background. Then there are the searches on the right side, and those are also in different color. So it's like, all this information is color coded on the page. So when I magnify it, I kind of know where I am based on the colors that I see. Here is another good example. It's BBC's website, and so they have pretty consistent design. So not only color is important, but also consistency of the page, because it helps me navigate through the website, as you have seen in the video. So here also we have menu on top, then we have the advertisement, and then underneath we have the content. If we switch to another page, same thing, even same advertisement. Same here. So it's very easy for me to navigate pages when they are so consistent. And so what we want to do is keep pages well designed and very consistent, very predictable, just like that garden there on the top of the screen. You want me to be walking in a beautiful garden that's well organized, so I don't walk into a bush or, some flowers that are strewn on the road. You want me to walk in the beautiful garden as opposed to, foggy forest there at the bottom where, it's easy to get lost. Things not to do. We have cursors, stylized cursors, like this one. When you magnify it, it's kind of hard to see. Another thing not to do is so we have a dialog box. When I magnify the screen, I don't see what's going on, so I don't know that the dialog box is there, and I don't know why I cannot input things. So it's great to then, if there is a dialog box, to make the screen darker. So then I know that at least I have to look for the dialog box out there on the page. And so just to sum up, color defines layout is very important, and also that layout of the page is consistent. Then things not to do would be stylized cursors and also pay attention to focus. Let's quickly look at jQuery's website, since it's a jQuery conference. Lovely and consistent. Wonderful. We have menu on top. Then we have jQuery and then another menu. Awesome. Even color-coded, right? So mobile is this color, and UI is this color, mobile this color. Whoops, what happened here? So here on top, I was expecting the same elements of the menu, but they're not here. Another interesting thing is, okay, here. This is the one of the UI elements, the accordion. And I've just chosen it, and you'll just see, yeah, there you go. So I'm not saying don't use it, I just wanted you to see the interaction that, basically the menu now is kind of a bit higher, so it's kind of hard to navigate there when you don't know the structure of the page. Another interesting thing was the tooltip. I think you'll like this one. What does it say? Can't quite get it. Finally. So tooltips are important, and so the longer they are, the more difficult it is for me to read them, especially when they disappear. So anyway, this was just a quick overview of the jQuery website, just to give you an idea. And I'll just finish with this thought. So this is the same woman drawn by two different painters, one from 15th century and another one by Picasso in 20th century. And so just wanted to leave you with this final thought that different perspectives matter, and that they all build up to a more valuable picture of reality around us. So don't forget when you design websites. Thank you.